Fantasy Football Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Final Plan, the Friday show from Planet FPL where we talk about the upcoming game week deadline. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
And this week is game week 28, I hope.
Blank game week. Yeah, I think on the main podcast the other day you were still stuck in a time warp because game week 26 was so bloody long.
Yeah, I have, to be honest with you, I have got a little confused, but we're all right, we're there. It's game week 28, blank game week 28, no games for Manchester City, no games for Sheffield United, Aston Villa, and the Gooners. How many blanks this week, mate, you got?
As in how many blankers?
Yeah, blankers.
Yeah.
What a bunch of...
Blankers.
Yeah.
Grealish and De Bruyne for me currently. No transfer made yet, waiting on all the team news, although I do think I know what I'm doing. Go on.
De Bruyne and Lundstrom for me. No transfers made yet. Waiting on the team news, although I think I know what I'm doing as well. I'm going to sort out my defensive issues where Rico and Kelly are my two budget defenders. Do you remember, I can't remember if it was on the main pod or it was on a show, maybe it was at a live show, you said that you bet that by the end of this week I'll have Charlie Taylor in my team.
All the cells. It's going to be one
All
or
the
the other.
cells. Yeah. But do you remember when you said you used to bet it was Charlie Taylor?
Okay.
And I said to you no, because I don't think it will be. And based on Jack Turfy Topper, our Burnley correspondent, on Clash of the Correspondents, which went out yesterday now, so go back and have a listen, and Charlie Taylor holding the spot and bombing forward, I think that 4.2 of the 4.2s, he is actually probably the best option.
I agree with that. Someone asked me on the live stream last week about
I don't like the fact
downgrading
that,
with 6.1 million in the bank, and I said, well, you don't know the picture yet.
Yeah.
Get Charlie Taylor in, leave the money in the bank, and it will give you options to decide.
Further down the line.
Obviously, the FA Cup fixtures are in midweek. By this time next week, I think everybody's going to know what their strategy
I don't
is
like
for 31.
the fact that our teams are getting more and more similar by the week, but so be it. Wildcard's not far away. We are, this game week, if you can in any way, shape or form roll your transfer to go into the next game week with 2, I think that will potentially be an advantage for you, because by the end of this game week plus the midweek, we'll know what's happening in game week 31.
Well, what if you're like me and you've got 2 free transfers and you really, really don't know what to do?
Well, shift one of your budgets to a budget that is playing in 31 is what I would suggest.
Can't.
Why?
Because I let it go. Because I refused to make an early transfer. There was no way
You got the money now.
Correct.
Oh,
The one that was considering that. No, it's okay. I knew that I had to wait, because at time of recording, it's Thursday afternoon. We anticipate in the next 24 hours, or for yourselves between now and deadline, that there could be some sort of announcement about a game week 29 double for Manchester City. My instincts, as I said, with obviously Arsenal winning the first leg, and at time of recording, we don't know if they've gone through or not. But if Arsenal have gone out, then suddenly I think it's on for City Arsenal. So there's been a lot of bantering I've seen on Twitter about potentially selling Kevin De Bruyne. I think it's viable if people don't, if they don't have the 29 double. But you probably, put it this way, you're not going to know factually if they don't. You're only going to know factually if they do. That makes sense.
Do you think it's safe to sell Manchester City's penalty taker? Finally, we've been asking for how long, and he takes one and he puts it in the back of the net. He's taking pens now, isn't he? Let's be honest with you.
Yeah, I think he'll be on them now.
Yeah.
I thought, it's worth saying Aguero wasn't on the pitch, right? So
True.
We don't know that 100%.
True. But
Gundogan was.
Yeah.
And he obviously jumped up
Ederson
that one.
was.
And as he went up to take it, there was no thought in my mind that he'd miss.
No.
By the way, I missed the first 15, 20 minutes of Manchester City because he was being a bit of a nuisance indoors, the little one. But I started watching it on my phone. I obviously gave him a bit of Sarah and Duck.
Okay, fair play.
And I'd been seeing so much on the timeline from the first 15, 20 minutes that it was boring. City had gone there, been so negative. Guardiola was pulling a Mourinho. Let me tell you, for the 70 minutes that I saw, I thought Manchester City were absolutely outstanding. I thought they had a tactical plan and they exposed Madrid at the right times. That said, after Madrid scored from nothing, they had a 5-10 minute period where they probably could have taken it away from City. But overall, City well deserved to win the game. De Bruyne in that position, that's more than the penalties. If De Bruyne was going to continue like that in a...
Number 10.
I mean, they're not going to play many games where they go 4-4-2-0, which is basically how I would define that from Wednesday night. They might do it at Old Trafford because they did it in the League Cup semi-final first leg, where they played a very similar system and destroyed United in that first half. If he's going to play in that position, he's unsellable. Because, my God, he'll return every week.
Yeah, he's mental, isn't he? You said you know what transfer you probably will make.
No, I don't.
Oh.
So, to go back to the budget issue, obviously I've got Grealish and De Bruyne. One of the things I'd mentioned previously with the idea that I could sell either before 29 but not before 28. So, for example, if Newcastle beat West Brom in the Cup and Villa aren't playing in 31, then I probably am going to bin Jack Grealish next week, actually. So my only sub that's available this weekend at the moment is Diego Rico. Now, he obviously didn't play at Burnley last week. But
nope.
Obviously, they've got a fixed-in fixture away to Wolves at 31. And it's one of them you look at it and go, you kind of want to leave him there. And if he gets me 1 point on the day, it's 1 point more than I probably would have got from, well, obviously not having a player at all, right?
Yep.
So I don't really want to sell that. The move I did consider making earlier in the week was I've got 0.1 in the bank. Rico's available at 4.3 to myself, was to move to Roman Saiz, who's now gone up to 4.5. And that would have then been my Wolves coverage, Saiz, Traore and Jimenez. But I think I'd rather wait and pull back around for Doherty, you know. That's the way I'm beginning to think. So I'm in a position now where team lineup this week, I've got McCarthy in goal. It's fine. I've got no playing sub-goalkeeper. It's fine. Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, obviously not going anywhere. I can't. I've got Charlie Taylor and Lascelles. Now, at the moment, with what I've got, they both play. So on Yes's Clash, the correspondent said it will be 0-0. And I don't
Fingers crossed it is for you.
Although Jack's Burnley are on a great run at the moment, I don't think he'd be surprised with that either. It's unlikely to be a high-scoring game. One or the other could well return. Then I'm left with Traore, who, again, I don't know the Wolves team at Espanyol at the time of recording, but I'd be stunned if he didn't play at Tottenham at the weekend. Now, having held Maddison and Vardy, they now come into these Norwich and Aston Villa fixtures, so they've got to stay. Sending Danny Ings with West Ham and Norwich to come, and then obviously plus Jimenez as well. Leaves me one spare player. Who is it, Suj?
Your fifth midfielder.
It's Mohamed Salah.
Yeah. So downgrade him to Mane.
That's where I might be at.
Lovely job.
We spoke about this last week.
I'm keeping him captain.
With the idea of only making that move if you had 2 free transfers.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people may have seen online this week, a few people been posting about Salah hasn't got an away return this season when Mane's on the pitch, which is a staggering statistic, which may frighten anybody considering of captaining him. But his captaincy is going to be massive this week. One of the reasons I'm thinking of maybe making this change now as well is I'm not certain that I'd captain Salah this week. I haven't decided yet, but I might well go with Jamie Vardy at Norwich. It's been so long, and I feel like it's going to come for him. And I'm not going to have fear about captaining a player against Norwich. Vardy's had decent returns away from home this season. Southampton, the hat-trick, 2 at Villa. I'm sure there's been others as well. So if I was going to captain Vardy, suddenly I'm in a position where Salah might as well not be in my team at all with what his effective ownership's going to be. And therefore, it might be the right time for me just to shift that fund to the differential Mane. Captain Mane the following week at home to Bournemouth. It might be where I go. I haven't decided yet. But I can't see anything from Rico, who I probably am happy to leave in there as third sub, possible 1 pointer for me in game week 31, as I don't intend to use the free hit at the moment. It might be, it's Salah to Mane for me. Because there's nobody else in my squad who I want to sell.
Yeah.
Literally none of them at the moment till I've got that picture.
This will be another split captaincy week, no doubt, because Ings at West Ham is a good option. Vardy at Norwich is a good option. And then Liverpool are always a good option. So I think people will take a punt on Ings and Vardy this week. I don't say they're a punt. They will. I mean, moving away from Liverpool, I guess, is the punt. But I do think there'll be a few.
80% of people who have Salah will captain him, would be my take. And there'll be a lot of that who have got Vardy. I think Vardy's the one who's coming round, and it feels like there's a little bit of momentum for a few people pushing for that as an idea. I wouldn't be captaining like Ings or Jimenez.
No, not Jimenez. I don't think Ings is such a bad shout, but I just think that the thing with Ings, and my advice would be not to captain Ings if you own him, just because there is so much riding on this game for West Ham that it's one of those where everybody will go into it so pumped that it's going to be a tough game. I don't like the option of captaining Ings. I will probably stick with Salah, although I am very tempted with Jamie Vardy as well.
So our teams will break apart differently. So
slowly and surely.
Where are you thinking transfer-wise?
It'll be Kelly to Charlie Taylor.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. The one I considered alternatively, as in a possible selling De Bruyne, probably would have been Richarlison. Now I know everyone else is thinking Bruno Fernandes. Mine is on the fact that by this time next week it may have well opened up for Everton in game week 31, and if that's the case, Richarlison will be in excuse me, every free hit team in that game if he's available, and I need to shield against the free hitters in that game week. So De Bruyne to Richarlison is one I've considered, but yeah, I could get the double whammy: De Bruyne to Richarlison, and then Norwich beat Spurs, and I've got no Richarlison in 31, and Tottenham are out of the cup as well, so I can't be making that move now. Excuse me.
Bless you. Let's talk about the differential team, shall we?
We can.
61 points last week.
It's still doing okay-ish.
Yeah. Are you happy with my shout of Bruno Fernandes now? 14-pointer.
Was you happy with my shout of Jay Rodriguez over Callum Wilson?
Yeah.
I mean, 1 for 1, mate. Come on. We ended up with Callum Wilson, by the way. We are in a position now where I think we quite like the majority of this team. We've got one free transfer and 1.3 million in the bank. We would right now be lining up with Alisson, Doherty, Sidibe, Gomez, Charlie Taylor, Bruno Fernandes, Dele Alli, Anthony Martial, Calvert-Lewin, Callum Wilson, Roberto Firmino, captain, Aurea, Tielemans on the bench, Riyad Mahrez, blanking.
Yeah. That's decent enough.
Do we want to do anything with this team this week? Bearing in mind for us as well that because of the way this is looking at the moment, and admittedly it could change. I think for this team we are certainly using the free hit in 31.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think roll a transfer for this, and yeah, I'm happy to leave Sidibe on the bench against Manchester United. And who else was on the bench there? Tielemans.
And Sergio Aurier.
Yeah.
You'd want to play Sergio Aurier, would you?
Well, he didn't play last week.
I'm
wouldn't
sure
expect
Sergio
him to get
Aurier
back
will
into the team.
Yeah, he'll come back in the team.
I'd play Aurier over Charlie Taylor, or
I wouldn't play him over Charlie Taylor. I mean, the only one Doherty would have to play. You could make a case against Sidibe.
Yeah, I'd play Aurier over Sidibe. Sorry, I was saying Sidibe on the bench, mate.
Really?
Bench Sidibe.
I'm not keen on that.
Aurier. He'll get an attacking return and a yellow card.
Dele Alli's in this team.
Yeah.
Again, at time of recording, he has been given a conduct charge by the FA. He's been given till March the 5th to appeal that decision. So I suspect he'll miss the fixture at Burnley in game week 29. So it's another one where actually, rolling and then fixing that problem might be the right way to go. I wish we'd never sold Richarlison from this team. That's about the only regret I've got on this at the moment. Is that obvious? Roberto Firmino captain at Watford as opposed to Calvert-Lewin or Fernandes, Martial?
I'd stick with Firmino. Away from home, and all of his goals have been away from home this season. So Firmino, if you own him as a captaincy option, isn't a bad shout.
Losing a little bit of ownership as well. So for new listeners, we can only buy players owned at under 10%, have to sell if they hit 20%. His ownership at the moment is 18.4%. It was creeping up above 19% this time last week. So he's actually losing a little bit of ownership. Talking of investment of players, do you remember the total number of transfers I said Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang had when we did the podcast on Monday night? I
certainly do. Not to the exact number, but it was about 63,000.
It was 68,000
transfers
in.
Okay, I was close.
How many now?
125,000.
At time of recording, which is Thursday afternoon, 141,000.
I wasn't far off, but still. 141,000. That's two and a bit Tottenham Stadium.
At the time of recording this game week, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's net transfers in is 88,000. Kevin De Bruyne's net transfers out is 129,000. So I sent this out as a tweet. I had some interesting responses, actually. It might be worth something debating just very, very briefly. Was the idea that a lot of these transfers in are not real teams. They're bots. And the bot can't work out that they're not playing.
Someone who's created a bot,
How
to
can
be
you
honest
fathom
with you,
that 140,000 plus people would buy a player who is not playing? We're not joking about, it's 14,000. 140,000, and that number is still growing. How is that fathomable? 140,000 people can't make that same mistake, surely. We've seen this happen in the past with players, they get a good return, and then you get people, and we laugh at 20,000 idiots have bought player X. This is an incredibly excessive number.
I don't know enough about how people set bots up. So if someone was setting up a bot to do it, how many teams would it be worthwhile for you to have to get a bot to manage? Like 5,000, 10,000? So you're talking about multiple people with bots making multiple transfers.
Possibly.
Yeah. It's not beyond the realms of possibility by any stretch. I would need to do a bit more investigation into
Ooh, look at Suj on the research.
I don't know if I could. I don't know if
because
you'd
you
be
got
able
mates
to.
in the towers.
No, I don't know if it's possible. It's not physically possible to find out if it is bots.
Well, no, of course it's not physically possible. I don't
mean,
believe
get me wrong.
there's 140,000 bot teams. We know that some people do run, algorithm system teams where I'm sure their computer does make the selections on that. Well, also, why would a bot go early?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I honestly think if it was bots or not, I would say the majority is not bots. I think it's people just picking players from the dream team from the previous week.
I think it's idiots.
Yeah,
I think it's idiots.
I don't think
in
it's
the majority
bots
as well.
We could find out if it was bots if we had access to their servers and the web traffic that the servers were getting, but we're not going to be able to do that because why would they? It would be.
I feel like you're already considering a major hacking here.
No, come on, man. This is recorded and on the internet. You want me to be fucking picked up by the police?
We'll talk about this offline.
Yes, we will. It is a staggering number, though. I think you're raising a valid point. It's a staggering number.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And the human element of everything that you're seeing online, for example, when you compare it to, say, Kevin De Bruyne has lost 130,000 net owners so far this week, is that everybody is screaming out loud, don't sell this guy. That seems to be the recurring theme.
Yeah.
So all of these people just in no way engaged, because the other thing is, half of the teams are dead, basically. So all these guys are active. Like, I don't know. It's just so excessive.
Yeah. Agree with you on that. Let's keep an eye on it over the coming weeks in terms of players that get into the dream team that have a particularly high score but then get bought in droves.
Would anybody make that transfer hoping to beat a price rise? Because he has had one this week, because they've got West Ham in game week 28.
Sure, yeah.
Surely that can't be the
29, right?
case with Jimenez's fixtures, Vardy now coming back into fixtures, Danny Ings longer term form and still a good run of fixtures as well. And it's not like there aren't other options as well. I mean, I think I saw Fix posted on Tuesday or Wednesday that of the transfers out for Aguero, bearing in mind they blank as well, Aubameyang was the third highest. Just gone from one blanker to another. Staggering.
I'm a little speechless. I don't really have an answer to it, but yeah, it could be a lot of players who are not engaged with what's happening in the fixtures.
I'll tell you a team that's not engaged, mate.
Your South team.
Oh my God.
Well, you beat me by 4 points last week, despite me not making any transfers.
Thanks, I feel better. So I'm now with this South team, which is, I picked the 9 most southerly clubs, which is basically London, the South plus Aston Villa.
You're below Manchild.
Yes, I'm aware.
Who
and
hasn't made a transfer all season.
Yeah, Suj can pick from the 10 most northerly clubs. Leicester, Wolves, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, countless. Every good budget option and every good budget defensive option is at the northern clubs.
So you had Aubameyang captain last week with a 26-point return.
Yeah.
I had Vardy with a 4-point return.
Yeah.
But you only beat me overall by 4 points.
Yeah.
So our captains had a 22-point difference in returns.
Yeah.
And the overall was only 4. Because helped by Trent Alexander-Arnold's 10-pointer, Nick Pope, 9-pointer, Calvert-Lewin returned as well, Jimenez returned as well. I've got the better spread. There's no doubt about that.
I was also going to buy Patrick Van Arnholt, as people at the live show may have known. And I went for Jack Stevens, who admittedly did get a clean sheet. PVA's 15 plus or whatever he got would have been handy. And he also brought in Abdoulaye Doucouré as well. I have 3 blankers at the moment. Aubameyang, Lacazette and Grealish. That's a problem. So let me ask you, with countless money, and I have Danny Ings, who at the moment would be bust for the captaincy, and sell Lacazette for any forward, essentially, who would be available from the southern clubs. Where do I go?
Troy Parrott.
Troy Parrott is a great shout.
Do you think
Troy
he's not going to play?
Troy Parrott is not a great shout. Where do I go?
Oh.
So, I just to cover this briefly, right? So, Brighton play Palace. What am I going, Benteke?
Nope.
I ain't going back to Morpay.
Nope.
Am I? Glenn Murray?
Nope.
Jordan Ayew?
Tammy Abraham.
Tammy Abraham, who was a video circulating of him in the warm down after Chelsea's beating by Bayern Munich in the Champions League, of him limping off the pitch.
Olivier Giroud.
Is Olivier Giroud the right answer for me? Is that not just another transfer out straight away?
Well,
Callum Wilson, Josh King?
Josh King.
Antonio's a midfielder.
Yeah, I was going to say that don't even touch West Ham.
Shane Long?
He's done his goal.
Shane Long is one of the best shouts.
He's done his goal quota for the whole of 2020, mate.
Troy Deeney playing Liverpool?
Nah.
Spurs? There's no one. You can't.
Yeah, that's why I said Troy Parrott.
You can't.
I would go with Giroud or your Bournemouth shouts there are your best bets because they're most likely to play. And I would take Josh King over Callum Wilson. Either or doesn't make a difference. Flip a coin, take one.
I'm going to have to go Giroud. It's ridiculous.
Giroud.
It's ridiculous. I'm going to have to. Then does Giroud, who hardly played all season, does he play 3 times in a week? Having played against Munich and Tottenham.
Well, they don't really have, or they're going to do
Batshuayi. That's what I'm saying. What? I might go Shane Long, you know.
Have a bit of fun. It's 130 points. There's no way you're going to catch that up in 12 weeks. So.
No, there probably isn't. But just remember, free hit wise, you have to go with a reverse team.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so I can free hit a full team of Northerns. I might have to do that in 31.
You'll have to do it when both Liverpool and City have got 2
Well, I might have to
each.
do it in 31. I might only have like Watford. In which case it's worth me doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. What else have we got to add, James? European football this week. Chelsea got a beating as expected, and Man City are through. So that Chelsea West Ham game.
Lots of Arsenal fans online after and during the Chelsea game Tuesday night.
About Gnabry. Gnabry.
He doesn't play for you, weirdos.
No, it's odd. We do know now, I mean, barring a miracle in Munich, I've already coined that title, wow, that the West Ham-Chelsea game will stay on that Sunday because Chelsea are out of the Champions League.
That's a reference for Sky listeners from Wednesday.
Yeah, but I mean, just in general, it's on.
I'd say something now. I would add on that about, which I should have mentioned on the Sky pod, and sorry to, what would you call it? When you...
digress.
No, spam. Sorry to spam the FPL listeners here with a bit of Sky knowledge. But you know when I was talking about, say, City, Liverpool and Sheffield United Spurs swapping from the Saturday night to the Sunday and vice versa.
Correct, yep.
Obviously, City, Liverpool could be a 7:45 kickoff on a Saturday.
Yeah, true. We don't have many of those. That would be a wicked option.
That's another option. From Sky's perspective, 7:45 on a Saturday night, I think they'd like a bit of that.
I'd like a bit of that.
So
that would be quite
that's
nice.
another possible option as well.
Fascinating. So this evening, Wolves are playing, Arsenal are playing, United tonight.
Which yesterday, but we just don't know the results.
We're recording early, so keep your eyes on those. You never know what injuries may happen.
When I stream on YouTube later this afternoon, I will know obviously the draw, so I'll cover off a bit there, and I'll obviously cover some team news that we've got a bit more in detail there as well.
There we go. We will be back at you next week with a full week of our regular FPL content. Having said that, next week's going to be one of those where we'll be adjusting what we're talking about on a daily basis based on the FA Cup news, because we'll know what's happening in 31 step by step. So it's going to be a in some ways, a long drawn out week in much the way Game Week 26 was as information's coming through. But no doubt by the time we get to Thursday, we'll be wrapped up.
The FA Cup games will probably be more interesting for FPL than the actual FPL weekend itself.
I agree with you. I think this is actually one of the most important FPL weeks of the season.
100% agree with that.
So that's a perfect reason to subscribe to the podcast wherever you are or on YouTube. Hit the notification bell. Do send any likes, comments and feedback that you can on Twitter because we appreciate all of that as well. Other than that, have a fantastic FPL week. I hope you all do really well. Come on, you Irons. Ciao for now.
Can you Spurs? Good luck, everybody. Cue music, man child.
The Fantasy Football Show.